Welcome to One Girl in All the World, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy super fan.
Kimmy, Buffy, newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. All right, so we are back to all talking Buffy.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their voices back now.
That curse was lifted. Now there's a new one.
Always a new problem, right? Nobody gets a week off.
Never ending.
Yeah, so
curious to see how they end the show, to be honest with you.
I know. Yeah, it's I think they did. People are so invested in shows like Game of Thrones and all this stuff. And like I was very invested in Game of Thrones, and like I agree that the last season was a letdown.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, and I understand that there's reasons for that are outside of the creator's control. But the ending of Buffy is so satisfying.
Oh, really?
I feel like it's perfect.
Okay.
It does go, actually, the official storyline does go on through comics for another 4 seasons.
Interesting. Wow, okay.
Yeah, but the show itself,
okay.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay. But today we're talking about Doomed. So if the original air date was January 18th, 2000. So we're in the 2000s now. How old was I? By January 27th, my birthday.
Oh my God.
So how old was I it was 24 years ago.
I was 17.
Math.
So you were what, 15? 14?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Written by Marty Noxon, David Fury, and Jade Epstein, which is crazy because I'm like, these are like 3 like huge powerhouse writers on the show. Why did they write this episode together? It's also directed by James A. Contner, who is a returning director. And I was like, wow, that's weird that all 3 of them, like Marty Noxon and Jane Epstein, are my favorite writers on the show. And then they have like David Fury there. And as I was reading through like behind the scenes stuff about this episode, Doug Petrie, who's another writer, he was getting married that week. And so it was kind of like all hands on deck. I think he was the one that was supposed to write it. And it was all hands on deck. They all came, like, a lot of them came to the wedding. They're like, I gotta go because I gotta go write the episode. So it was like everybody was kind of like piecemealing it together and under a lot of intense time constraints.
Okay.
And he was just saying, like, sometimes really good things come out of that and sometimes not. But like they thought it was like successful the way that they did it. Yeah, so that was a little bit of stuff behind this episode. And the synopsis is, while Buffy and Riley grapple to come to terms with what they now know about each other, the reopening of the Sunnydale Hellmouth sends Buffy and the gang back to high school to prevent an impending apocalypse. Meanwhile, Spike has lost all the will to live without the ability to kill, but he grows heartened by the approaching end of the world.
Yeah, he gets a little cheered up by that.
He's like, really? Okay.
Christmas came early this year.
Yeah. Okay. So we get a little previously on because there is a lot of unfinished business.
I mean, yeah.
We get reminded that Spike can't hit or hurt humans because of the chip. He can't bite or hit. And then also just a little follow-up on Buffy and Riley, what happened in Hush, that they have been outed to each other, basically. So we were left with them not really talking about it. And this episode picks up right after Hush ends. So they're just kind of, again, to continue to stare at each other without saying
awkward
anything.
silence.
Yeah, and Riley does start, but he says, like, what are you?
And should she say, like, the Capricorn on the cusp of a...
Yeah, Capricorn on the cusp of Aquarius.
Okay.
Yeah, because her birthday is January 19th.
Okay. She seemed slightly offended by the question.
Yeah, what are you? Yeah, she is offended.
What am I? I'm a human. I'm a girl.
She is offended by it, yeah. And he's like, didn't mean it like that. He's like, hey, you know who I am, but as far as what I do, I can't tell you. She's like, let me take a guess. You're part of an underground government operation that...
Monster dudes hunting?
Yeah, hunts demons, experiments on them, turns them into harmless puppies, and she's like, how am I doing?
Deliver them to lab coats. I like how she called them unfriendlies.
Yeah, she's like, you either call them unfriendlies or...
non-sapiens?
Yeah, non-sapiens. He says... hostile some things.
Yeah, he seems a little...
Sure, they call them hostiles.
He
But
seems a little off put by how accurate she is.
yeah, he is definitely. He's like, this is you are guessing too well. He doesn't know that they're already aware of them and have been like collecting data on them.
Yeah.
And kind of investigating them this whole time. But yeah, he's like, oh shit, like how do you know all this? And it's funny because I don't. Okay, so Riley's not my favorite character in the whole show. Let's put it that
Really?
way. He's not one of my favorite characters.
I like him. Okay.
He's just so white bread.
Okay.
Like he's just boring.
He's
He's not even
undercover secret government agent.
Yeah, I guess.
And he's nice. He's a nice boy.
He's a nice boy.
Sometimes we just need to like nice boys.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, so she kind of gets offended, like, oh, if Riley is in your name, have you ever actually been to Iowa, Riley? He says, okay, I'm not the only one that's been like keeping secrets, which is true. I take his side on this. Yeah, it's totally fair. And so she says, like, okay, I'm the Slayer. And
he's like, what is that?
Nothing. No bells are ringing. She can't believe he doesn't know who the Slayer is.
Yeah, especially because he knows about vampires and stuff, right?
Yeah. She's like, I thought a demon hunter like you would known that I was a Slayer.
Yeah.
And he just says, you're so strong and like you look fine. Like I'm like got really beat up from the fight in Hush, and she's, he knows that she's got like strength that is like surpassed like what she probably should have.
Not like a normal human.
Yeah, so she's surprised that he hasn't heard of her. She's like, the chosen one. She who hangs out a lot in cemeteries. Like she's like, ask around about me. So it basically comes down to they don't really know. He is not really shooken by, as far as their relationship, like this at all. She is. And she says that they should take some time to process this.
She wants space.
You want space to think about this. And
relationship death.
He agrees, but you can tell he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he's not a fan of this. Well, I mean, usually taking space isn't like a good sign of things.
Yeah. So they're kind of wrapping up that conversation when an earthquake hits. At first, Amy kind of starts freaking out.
Yeah, she squeaks.
She's like, wee! Yeah. And then earthquake happens. They run into the doorway of her closet.
Yeah. And he's excited. He's like, oh, my first earthquake. And I'm like, that is not how I reacted during my first earthquake.
How did you react? Like, did you freak out?
I freaked yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I just like watched. I just stayed still and like just watched like my lampshade swinging side to side, and then it was over, and then I was like, whoa. But I wasn't scared. I mean, I know.
I felt a lot of shaking the first time. It freaked me out.
Well, I mean, I felt things shaking, but I just like watched things like sway, and I remember specifically just sitting there watching things sway until it was over. But yeah, obviously, bigger ones. I'm sure that one was.
Yeah, I mean, my first one wasn't a big one, but yeah, still didn't. Yeah.
I'm sure I would crap my pants on like a huge one, but anyway. I was not excited as Riley or as worried as Buffy. Same. I was in the middle.
She's spooked.
Yeah, she's really spooked. Yeah. And he says, sorry, this is my first earthquake. And she says, it's not mine. But yeah, she looks definitely worried. Mm-hmm. And we go to the credits. We come back to Xander's. And Xander is leaving to go to work. He's a pizza delivery man. So you said for food service.
It's food service, yes. I was in the right ballpark at least, yeah.
I will give it to you. I'll give it to you for sure.
Thank you.
So a pipe kind of busted. It's kind of dripping, and it's all over Spike's sleeping chair. Xander has to leave. He tells Spike, hey, fix the leak. Here's the wrench. And, you should actually clean up around here and, like, do some laundry.
Yeah,
and Spike is
like, help out. Pitch in.
Excuse me? No, I'm not going to do that. He tries to hit Xander with the wrench behind his back, and then he, like, gets attacked. So Xander never even realizes it happened.
No.
So they just kind of fight a little bit, and then Xander's like, I have to leave and go to work. So he leaves Spike there. So in Buffy's dorm, Willow comes back after the earthquake, and she's like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, everything's fine. And Willow says that Porter dorm is all blacked out, doesn't have electricity, so they're having an aftershock party. And I like when Buffy says, oh, yes, the dorm that brought us somebody sneezed party and a day that ends in Y party. Any excuse.
Any excuse for a party.
For a party. Willow's going to go. She wants Buffy to come with her. She's like, oh, I might stop by, but I have to have one-on-one with Giles. Yeah. And Willow does pick up that. She's like, is everything okay? Yeah. And Buffy says, yeah, everything's fine. and then she goes off to talk to Giles. So of course she gets to Giles, and Buffy's like, "It's the end of the world."
Well, the last time this happened, she died.
Yeah,
So,
last time there was an earthquake.
She's freaking out. I get it.
Last time there was an earthquake, she died. So yeah, so she just has this feeling that it's something bad. Giles is like brushing her off. He has this map in front of him where he's like plotting all the different like sightings of the commandos, which that's like a map of Santa Barbara. So that's
really?
like yeah, there's a lot of like Santa Barbara like evidence that it's Santa Barbara.
Interesting. Okay.
That Sunnydale is actually Santa Barbara. So this is one of those to that theory or whatever.
It was filmed in Los Angeles, though, right?
In Santa Monica, yeah.
Santa Monica, yeah, okay.
And Torrance, it depends. Like the stages were in Santa Monica, and then the high school stuff was all at Torrance.
Okay, got it.
And Buffy's house, the outsides of Buffy's house is in Torrance. Okay. And then like randomly, like Giles's house is in Flociles, and they're all kind of like scattered about. Giles's. Did you notice anything weird about the sound or the audio in this scene?
No.
So obviously there was something wrong with Tony Head's audio. So they like ADR'd it. They like dubbed it over, and it's awful.
No.
So bad.
So like he's talking and it's not matching up?
Also that, and his audio is too clean compared to Buffy's.
I think when I'm just writing notes, I'm not gonna notice that very well.
It's so like jarring.
That's
it's
funny.
Awful. Yeah, so god awful dubbing on this scene with Giles' lines. So he's really telling her, "Don't worry about this. If something is going on, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to figure it out."
There's more signs coming. Like this is not maybe a sign. It's fine.
Yeah, and
we're in California.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Southern California, and we should concentrate on the commandos because we know those are actually happening and they could be up to something or whatever. And Buffy deliberately does not say, "Hey, by the way, I just discovered one of them is Riley," because she told Riley she wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, and that was good, right?
Yeah, but it is like that'd be problematic. Yeah. But she doesn't say anything. At the initiative, Riley is asking Forrest about the Slayer. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, she isn't real. She's a myth that they like demons tell the like little spawn to keep them like a boogeyman to keep them in line." And then a demon gets loose, and they have to like kind of fight it and get it subdued again. And all the demons are really worked up.
Yeah,
like rattling in their cages and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Forrest says it's because of the earthquake.
Makes everybody crazy.
Makes everybody crazy. So at Porter Dorm, the aftershock party's going. Willow's there by herself. She's not
into it.
Not there with anybody. She doesn't know anybody, so she's kind of standing around. And we see Percy.
Dick.
I know. He really redeemed himself.
This was a disappointing scene.
He redeemed himself at the end of high school. And this is she like comes up to him and says, "Hey, Percy." For people that don't remember, Percy is the football player and basketball player probably that she tutored and got him to graduate. Yeah. So he's at this party. She says hi, talks to him, and he's visiting a girl that goes there. He goes to a different school. He was like such a bitch right away. You can tell.
Yeah. I don't like why. Because she feels threatened or something? Like, what?
Yeah, so weird. And he tries to ask about odds, and then she gets up and whispers in his ear. And he's like, "Oh, hey, we're going to get some drinks. It was nice seeing you." That one just leaves.
Yeah.
It's like really like rude. And then we see a demon, like a door is starting to close, and people are leaving out of a room, and a demon hand like stops the door from closing.
Super creepy hand.
And then we go into this guy like in a room, like a side room or something.
A shirtless guy.
Yes. And he's like, he's halfway ready for Naked Limbo, apparently. He's going to be Naked Limbo. He's already halfway there. And he has all these like drinks. He turns around and a demon like slits his throat.
Yeah, it's pretty gruesome actually.
And like blood starts like falling everywhere.
Yeah.
Not good. Never got to see the Naked Limbo. Sad. So Willow is still wandering the party. She's like waiting for Buffy to get there. Yeah. She's not by herself. And she overhears Percy and that girl talking. And that girl was threatened by her. Said that he was like flirting with her because he says, "Hi, how are you?"
It's so weird. Like, what is your problem?
And he says, "Oh, like she's like the queen of the nerd squad." Called her a nerd, and
wow.
He called him crazy, but he likes his girls hot. And like, oh, so mean.
So mean. It's so mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so poor Willow overhears this and it is sad. And something I never picked up on before is when Willow's leaving to go to that room to lay down, we pan over and we see Graham's in the background.
Oh.
Because remember he shows up later and like reports about the death?
Oh.
I thought he just found out about it. I didn't realize he was at the party.
Okay.
And so he's there. I just never saw him.
Totally didn't catch that at all. Yeah, okay.
I had never caught it before. So yeah. So Graham's back there talking to somebody. So Willow goes into the bedroom. She knocks on a door. It's open, like dark.
No
She doesn't
lights.
think anybody's there. Yeah. And so she lays down on the bed. She just feels like so sad and alone and hurt. So the power comes back on when she's laying there, and we see that there's a dead body next to her.
Yep. It has a weird marking on the chest.
Yeah, like an engraving. And she then notices him and it's like, ah, and jumps up. So Xander comes back from work.
And Spike didn't fix the leak. He did try to do laundry, though.
He tried.
And he shrunk his clothes.
So he's wearing Xander's horrible clothes. His Hawaiian shirt and like khaki, like long shorts. He's like, don't turn around. Don't look at me. And he's like, what happened? And he's wearing Xander's clothes. So funny. Oh my God.
Poor Spike.
Yeah. He's like, I tried. I shrunk everything. Like, you need to go out and give me more blood and give me some decent clothing. And like Xander, okay. Xander really, when he knows he can win a fight, he like grows a pair of balls. I feel like. Otherwise, he doesn't. He knows that Spike can't do anything to him, so he's going to get all like macho. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, I can kick your ass right now. I know you can't do anything about it, but you're not even worth it. I'm like, okay, Xander.
Yeah.
All right. You wouldn't be saying that to him if he could hit you because he'd kick your ass.
Not. He would.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, Xander, like get your macho kicks where you can, I guess. And he's going to leave. He's leaving. So back at Porter dorm, Buffy arrives. Obviously, the party's been cleared out because the ambulance is there and everything. Dead guy alert. She finds Willow and says, Willow tells her that she found the guy. He had a weird mark on him. There was a lot of blood, so they need to definitely like find Giles and like tell him about this. And then she also says, and Percy called me a nerd.
Yeah.
It's like, what? It's so upset. And then we're in Riley's dorm, and I put balls, Buffy, because they're throwing the ball. The poster on the back of his door says balls, and then it just has all the different sports balls. And then they're talking about Buffy.
Okay.
God. Yeah, so Riley says to Forrest again, Buffy's cool, right? He's like, yes, she's cool.
Like, stop asking.
Like, just shut up about her already.
Forrest is over it.
He is over. He's been over it. Yeah. But he's going to talk to him about Buffy some more, and then Graham comes in because we saw him at the party. He says that there was like a fatality at this party. They don't know if it was caused by a demon or what, but they're going to do some recon. They're going to try to make sure that
they figure it out.
Yeah, they figure it out. So at Giles, Willow is upset about Percy. That's what she's focusing on.
She feels like she's back in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
she's grown so much, so it does like feel like it knocked her back.
Yeah. It's crappy.
And Xander is like right on board. He's like, oh, that jerk. Woo! And he's like, also, the dead guy is bad. Yeah, we should talk about the dead guy and not focus on Percy alone. Right. So Willow says that there was like a symbol carved, like a weird creepy eye carved into his chest, and he was also like propped up. So it looked like the blood was drained from him. And Xander does say that it looks like the CBS logo. That they could be behind it.
Right.
Yes. Buffy says that it is familiar to her. Mm-hmm. She can't place it, but she knows she's seen it somewhere. And then Giles says, oh, it's the end of the world.
Of course it is.
And Buffy says, I told you all. Poo. Southern California, poo poo. He's like, yes, I am so sorry for, for not believing you, because now we're all going to die. So Buffy says she's going to head out. She's going to stop this thing, and she's going to try to figure it out. So she's at the cemetery, and she's like, yes, this is where I've seen it. She saw it's on top of a mausoleum. Like, it's marked on top of a mausoleum. So she calls them, like, of course this is where I would see it, where I spend all my waking hours. I think she calls them creepy cereal boxes of death. A mausoleum. So she goes in, and there's a demon taking bones out of a little coffin or a little crypt. He's putting them in a bag. So they fight, and it's child bones.
Yeah.
Little bones.
Little bones.
Yeah, they fight. They take it out of the mausoleum. They're fighting in the cemetery, and he like cracks her in half over
It's tombstone.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Over a tombstone, which was like whoa, and so he gets away with that because she just can't like
she gets the wind knocked out of her
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he runs off, and then she sees a shadow and jumps back up, and it's Riley.
Right. Yeah.
And he sees the demon. He reports it into
His
headquarters.
Yeah.
To headquarters about that they need to like have a meeting about this unidentified creature that's running around.
Well, and she's like, shouldn't we be like running after this? And he's like, I have no weapons and no backup. Like, what do you want? He's like, I can't chase a demon down that size. And she's like, I can.
Yeah.
I love that.
So this is
scene.
like the first of a few times where we like see the juxtaposition between how they each approach their jobs or whatever you want to call it, their missions. Buffy does get help from people, but she's very much goes on her own to fight these things.
Yeah.
And Riley doesn't even contemplate going after it by himself. So he's part of this, like you said, like before. He is a cog in a wheel, and she is the whole like mechanism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very different.
So yeah, they just don't do the same. So he takes this moment to try to talk to her again about dating. And she says, I can't date you. We can't be together. It's too dangerous. It's doomed. Episode name.
I can't do doomed again.
I can't do doomed again.
And when he says back to her, he says he can feel his skin hemming. I love that line. It's just so... I love that anyway. And then he's like, how he's never been excited by anybody like this before. It's just so sweet. I'm really rooting for him in this scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously feels strongly about her.
Yeah.
But she's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't... They kind of had the same conversation like 3 times. It just keeps going on and on, which is it's a bit redundant, but
I agree. However, like she kind of opens up a little more, like just saying how like she's kind of said how she was in a previous relationship, it didn't work out or whatever. I don't remember exactly what she said, but he's like, he's not going to walk away from this just in case it doesn't work out. And I thought that was, like, cause she's just like, oh, I'm shutting this down because I can't do doomed again. And it's like, you don't even know though.
Yeah.
So
I think she's scared. She's scared.
Yeah, she is scared. Of course she is.
And she
has a right to be.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And she says, for you, this is a job. For me, this is destiny.
Yeah.
Like, I can't change this. This is like my life. I can't walk away from this. She says, I have to go find this demon. Like, goodbye. So she leaves. And then we get this like bouncing. This is like the really big one of like the juxtaposition between Giles's like the Scooby Gang and the Initiative, like how they deal with this threat. So basically it's like books, like Giles going through the books, they're reading, like all this like lore and like kind of like riddles about ritual and all of
trying
this.
To piece things together.
Yeah, and Riley says, okay, the demon was this tall, weighed about this much, like any special powers? No, I don't think so. I couldn't tell you any special, like anything like that. So it's like very different approaches.
So it's like subjective and objective, basically.
Yes, yeah. They come across the sacrifice of 3. Well, Giles and them do. Sacrifice of 3. So they're going to sacrifice 3 to end the world, and they need blood of man, bones of a child, and the word of Valios.
Yep.
So they're like, okay, the guy's blood at the party. They got the bones of the kid.
Yep.
So now they
the
need
word
this.
Of Valios is...
Whatever it is.
Yep.
They might have it already, but we need to find it. If they don't, we need to find it. What is it? A book or who knows what?
Yep.
So she's going to send Willow and Xander to go to the a museum to like look and see if that's a book, and she's going to go to the magic store and see if they've heard of it. And Willow and Xander are going to stop for weapons at his house first. But the Initiative is also saying that they have like a pheromone. They have a lot of technology that the Scoobies don't have. They have like this pheromones tracking system. So this demon's giving off pheromones. So that's how they're going to try to track it through town and everything. And it's a kill, not a capture. They make that clear. So Willow and Xander walk in time to see Spike trying to fall on a stake that he's like rigged up on the table to
Yeah.
stake himself, to like commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, he misses and destroys the table.
It's an awkward scene.
So funny.
And Willow's like, we can't just let him poof himself.
Yeah, Xander's like, why not? And Xander's like, I'm sorry, Spike's like, I'm so pathetic. I'm not even remotely scary.
Yeah.
Like, what do I even have anymore? Like, I might as well just die. And Willow says, okay, we have to take him with us because he'll just kill himself
Can't
if we
leave him
leave him
alone.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
can't leave him alone. And it was kind of cute because Xander said, hey, don't worry, man. Like, if we don't find what we're looking for, it's going to be the end of the world. And Spike says, you're not just saying that. Like, give him a little hope.
A little apocalypse hope.
So at Maple Court, Buffy and Riley are both looking for the demon, or Buffy's leaving the magic store. And Riley has his little pheromone tracker that Buffy thinks is Donkey Kong. And he tries to talk to her again about them being in a relationship.
He tries to talk to her again, but he calls her stupid. And then he's like, wait, no, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, you are stupid.
Yeah, he's like, boing, boing, boing. You are stupid, you're not. You're stupid, you're not. You're stupid, you're not. Yeah, so she alludes, there's a lot of like alluding to Angel in these conversations that she tried it and it doesn't work. This isn't a kind of job that you can.
It's very different though. I mean, they're not.
And she also doesn't like that he says the job is fun. And she's like, well, the last person I knew that said that is in a coma. They had so much fun on the job.
Yeah, and she's referring to Faith, I'm guessing.
Faith, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that wasn't great. But I mean, the other thing he says though is that the risk would be worth the reward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And something I want to point out about these conversations. Well, first of all, he says, the point is you don't do this alone. You like show up for each other, like in general. Like she I think she accepts it from her friends. You know what I mean? That idea. But he does say if you weren't so self-involved, you'd see that. And Buffy is very self-involved, but this is the only time that I can recall that anyone's actually called her out on it.
Yeah.
Because she is very self-involved. But the thing I wanted to I'm like, why now? Like, why does this change so much that he is involved in this? Like, being involved with her isn't any more dangerous. If anything, it's less dangerous. If he's trained, he's like knowledgeable instead of just a guy that knows nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why this is the thing that turns her off dating him completely. Because
maybe it was just like the camel that broke the straw that broke the
maybe, maybe. Because I'm just like, you were all about it, and then all of a sudden he's involved in stuff that you are.
I would think that would be more enticing, personally, but
he sees it as something that in common. He sees it as a good thing,
and she doesn't have to lie about it anymore. She can be herself.
Yeah, how far can this really go if he doesn't? If they don't know
exactly,
if the partner doesn't know about it,
you can't be serious. Like you can't be super serious with them.
Yeah, it's just not
fair.
Work.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just don't really understand why. So if he was like a normal guy that had no like fighting training, had no idea any of this stuff was happening, he'd be in less danger of being in a relationship with her.
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't really get that logic.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So let me know in the comments if you have a different perspective, because I'm just like, why is this the thing that she's like, we can't be together? Maybe she thinks it's like a workplace romance or something like that. I don't know. But anyway. So at the museum, Willow, Spike, and Xander leave. They didn't have any luck with the word of Valios. And Spike is really mean to Willow and Xander. That
he calls them 10th grade losers.
10th grade losers.
And Buffy's too soft to cut them loose.
Too much of a softie to cut them loose. He's like, we help. Xander's like, we help. Sure you do. And Buffy would be better off without you because she wouldn't have to keep saving your lives all the time.
Jeez.
Yeah, so he like insults them, and he tells Xander, people are going off to university. You've made it as far as the basement. He says to Willow, you couldn't even keep Dog Boy happy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he's like, I don't need your guys' pity. Okay, you're more pathetic than me. So then he walks away and he's kind of like smirking because he's like, I can hurt people some way still. I had never caught this before, but I saw it in like the behind the scenes internet webs, that when he's walking away and he's smirking, to the right of the frame, the like dolly track. So when they're like walking, it's like on a like the camera's on like a little train track kind of.
Yeah.
You can see it plain as day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I
Nice.
was like, how did I never see that before? So
Yeah.
that was funny. There were 3 things in this episode I never noticed before.
Oh, that's good. That's what they want.
Yeah. And it was Graham in the
Okay,
background,
yeah. And
this,
Dolly.
and then thing we'll get to.
Mm,
That's probably the best one, though.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's like a throwback, and I'm like, oh, yeah. All right. Okay. At Giles, he's working. He's like looking through like his books and everything. He finds reference to the world of Valios, and he has it.
Yep.
He didn't know. So he digs through his stuff. He finds this like medallion or whatever, and it matches the picture in the book. And he's like, shit. So he starts grabbing his stuff, and then all of a sudden the demons come out of everywhere and like beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, they do.
And take it. And he's lucky they didn't kill him.
Yeah, actually.
So they beat him up. Everybody comes over and finds him. He's like, so they have obviously the last piece of the sacrifice. Obviously, they're gonna like have 3 people there to sacrifice 3 humans, and they're gonna open the Hellmouth. He was able to like piece all this together now, and they're gonna open the Hellmouth. So
looks like they're going back to high school.
So at Sunnydale High School, the ruins, the charred ruins of Sunnydale High School.
I guess they didn't rebuild it, huh?
No. They didn't even demolish it yet, either. Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Spike come. And Buffy is like, why is Spike here?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious. Is Spike going to be a Scooby now? Like, what's going on with that?
I don't know.
You do know.
I've never seen this show before.
Wow. Fine.
I was faking this whole time, guys. I've just had some really like educated guesses. And Willow says that he'll stake himself if we leave him alone. Buffy's like, who cares?
Yeah, that's
fine.
Fine.
Keep him out of the way. And he's at least changed into some jeans, but he still has Xander's ugly shirt on. Okay, so here's like the coolest like Easter egg thing that I have always missed.
Okay.
When they turn that corner initially, and it's like the long hallway, and they're in the back, in front of them on the ground, Amy's mom's trophy. That Amy's mom's.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So just out and about, no longer in a trophy case.
Yeah, because everything got blown up. So she's it's laying in the rubble.
I wonder if it still has that eye thing like moving around.
I think that the original script, or if they cut it, it showed her like looking around in it still. It's just stuck in there still. And then Xander steps on some mare meat. Well done, mare meat from when he exploded.
Ew.
Yeah.
I missed that. Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well done, mare meat. So they kind of make their way into the library, and we have that like, there was like that sunken area of the library, so you can see it.
Like
the
a
3
hole kind of,
the 3 demons are around it. They're kind of like chanting.
Yeah, they're like, where are the human sacrifices?
Yeah, that's the priority. She tells Buffy, she tells Willow and Xander, like, get the sacrifices out. They must be around here somewhere. So she just runs right into the fray, starts beating up the demons. They have all their little trinkets that they need. So Willow and Xander grab like the blood and the bones, and they kind of play hot potato, including Spike as well, like to keep these away from them, because then they can't do the ritual. Yeah. There's a lot of continuity issues in this scene with Spike. Willow throws him the bones, and then they cut out a bit, they pull out, and then there's no bones in Spike's hands, like the bag of bones.
Totally didn't notice any of this.
And then later, the really like bad one is Spike sitting there, because he's kind of like sits back and watches them fight, and then it cuts to him again, and he's in vamp face, and then it cuts away, and he's not in vamp face.
Oh.
But honestly, I think people are thinking, I could like tell it's not James Marsters. I think it was a stunt double. They used later, and I think they needed to like put somebody in there, and they couldn't just use the stunt double with no vamp face. That's what I think happened.
Okay.
But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. But it's just like continuity is an issue in the scene. So the one that has the blood with him jumps into the Hellmouth.
Yep. And
it starts like the earthquake starts happening. Yep.
And
Xander actually realizes.
Oh, Xander realizes, okay.
Which is like good for him, he could win for him. That the demons are the sacrifice.
Yeah, which isn't good.
No, there's no human sacrifices. They're just sacrificing themselves with their stuff.
When they realize that the demons are the sacrifice, I feel like this is also the point where Spike realizes he can hit the demons and boy, does he enjoy that.
Yeah, he is being pummeled, and he's not even trying to hit back because he can't. But he just gets so fed up that he's like, it's going to be worth it to have this pain in my head. So he just lets the demon have it.
Oh, yeah.
And nothing happens.
Yep.
So he realized that demons, it's only humans. Demons, he can beat the shit out of them. And he is like, life is worth living again.
He starts kicking butt.
He starts kicking butt. And he picks up the demon and throws him into the hell.
Well, then don't they say, like, don't throw it in the hole? And he just does anyway.
Well, he, like, didn't, like, hear them or it was too late or whatever. And he's like, what? I was helping when, like, the earthquake starts. He thought he was doing a good thing. But no, that was the bad thing.
It's a bad thing.
It's a bad thing. There's only one left. Obviously, Buffy's fighting him. And she tells Xander and Willow to get out because, like, the high school is starting to collapse. And weirdly, like, Spike gets hit with, like, a beam. Mm-hmm. And, like, they pick him up and, like, take him out, which is interesting instead of just leaving him there. So they get him out. And it's just Buffy and this demon. They're fighting. And Riley shows up and joins the fight. And she tells him, make sure if you don't let him jump in the hellmouth. If he does, we're finished. So they're both fighting. And the demon, like, this is the one that needs the word of value. So he sees it in the ground, he grabs it, and he jumps into the hellmouth. Of
course he does.
Uh-oh. This is bad. And like, Buffy's like, I'm going in after him.
But then he, like, rigs her up to this little, like, Batman device and, like, lowers her down.
Yeah. Oh, lowers her down. She just jumps in there. And so, yeah, you see the demon flying through the air in the hellmouth, and then Buffy's flying behind him trying to grab him. And the one thing I'm just like, okay. Riley's holding that, like, wire.
Without gloves. Yes.
That would have burnt the shit out of him.
Of course it would have. Okay, so I'm not the only one that did.
That bothers me.
That bothered me too, actually.
Yeah.
I even wrote without gloves, exclamation mark.
And it's like going through his hands, like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Riley, yeah. That always bothered me. Because she is flying, like, just free falling.
There's no way he would be able to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we just, Yeah, so the line stops, he pulls her back out, and Buffy's able to come out with the demon, and it's still shaking. Like, was it too late? We don't know. And then the demon, like, actually dies outside of the hellmouth.
So they managed
to
save it.
It wasn't able to be completed. And then the shaking stops. So on the way out of this high school, they meet up with everybody. And Riley and Spike are both trying to, like, disguise who they are. So Riley's in his, like, fatigues. And it's like, oh, yeah, I was just playing paintball nearby. And
paintball, sure.
Yeah, just, happened to be walking by this old school. And
there's no paintball on him?
Yeah. And Xander says, you're one of the commando guys, aren't you? He's like, no, absolutely not. And he's like, hey, don't I know you? To Spike. And Spike is, like, kind of, like, side-eyeing him.
American accent.
No, I'm just a friend of Xander's here. He's like, oh, he says, hey, Xander, Riley actually says, oh, that's nice. Because he's seen Spike before, and Spike, obviously doesn't want to be caught by the commandos again.
Yeah.
So he writes that off. So, crisis is averted. In Riley's dorm room, Buffy comes over and says, I didn't hear from you. I just want to make sure you're okay. And he says, like, oh, I'm a dead man. Because you found out about my secret identity. And because you're the Slayer, I figured that was okay. But then, like, your friends all find out. And, like, I'm going to be, like, kicked out of the initiative, basically. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the end of the world. And Buffy says, it's not the end of the world. And she kisses him. So she's gotten over her reservations about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he kind of proved her point, or he proved his own point. But, like, he showed up for her and saved her and, like, helped. As I said, they show up for each other. And then we're at Xander's. And Willow and Xander are in his basement watching TV, and Spike's there, of course, because he's being held hostage still. And he gets up to turn off the TV, and he has found purpose again in life. And he wants them to, like, why are we sitting here? Let's come on. We can go kill demons. We can fight evil. Why are you sitting here? Let's go get Buffy. Let's go for Christmas and puppies and everything. Like, come on, let's go. He's like, he is motivated to go kick ass. And the only ass he can kick is demons, so he's happy to do it. Yeah. He doesn't have any loyalty. He doesn't care. Yeah. He doesn't care he doesn't have any loyalty to, like, demons because they're both, evil. He don't care. So he is trying to get them to the couch potatoes to get up and go fight evil. And they're just like, wide, like, mouth open, like, just staring at him. Like, what is happening? And they're, like, pointing at the TV, like, we just want to sit here and watch TV. But he has found a reason to live again.
Nice.
And that's the end of this episode. Yes. It's a good one. It's got it all. My favorite quote was Spike's end quote, which I kind of just paraphrased, but I'll read it. It says, "What's this? Sitting around watching the telly while there's evil still afoot? That's not very industrious of you. I say we go out there and kick a little demon ass. What? Can't go without your Buffy? Is that it? Too chicken? Let's find her. She is a chosen one after all. Come on, vampires. Grr, nasty. Let's annihilate them for justice and for the safety of puppies and Christmas, right? Let's fight that evil. Let's kill something. Oh, come on." I love that. I love that little speech.
Yes, that was good.
And then my favorite scene was when Spike shrinks his clothes. And then he has to wear Xander's clothes. And Xander's like, looks at him like horrified that he's wearing his clothes. I just love that scene.
That was a good scene.
Yes.
I think that also might be my favorite scene. Let me see. Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
My favorite line, however, though, was at the beginning when Xander and Spike are at Xander's basement and like talking about Xander going to work, and
I
Spike
think I
is
know
like,
which
"Oh,
one you...
doing your part to keep America constipated."
He's like delivering cheese on bread, doing your part to keep America constipated.
Yes, that was so funny. Accurate.
Yeah. He said, "Don't forget who pays in the night when Xander said, don't forget who pays the plasma around here. Pays for the plasma around here."
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Just like grumpy old married couple.
Yes.
He's like, "Can't you do some housework while I'm at work?" You know?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. My steak rating was a 4.9 out of 5.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I just feel like, especially after like knowing like all the writers that were on it, it has all the elements. All the Buffy elements. I love episodes like that. It's like funny. It has an apocalypse, which never happens well, it does happen randomly, like the Zeppo.
It's kind of a lot, actually.
It does, but usually, they usually save them for like the finales, kind of. But the Zeppo was a diversion from that, and this is too. So I like that there was an apocalypse. It moves things along. It moved Buffy and Riley along.
That's true.
It moved Spike along. Instead of just, we've had him for quite a few episodes now, like just, floating about. Yeah. He's given the information that he was asked, that he bargained for. So now what? So that moved, he got there. I thought there was a little too much of the relationship chit-chat between Buffy and Riley. Like, I just think it went on for a little too many scenes.
Yeah, I agree too. I agree with that, yeah.
It definitely needed to be had, but I don't think it needed to be had over and over.
And over and over, yeah.
Like, consolidate it.
Yeah.
I liked the Willow, Spike, Xander dynamic. I think they're funny, like, trio
that was
together.
Cute.
Yeah, they were a funny trio together. Because Spike's like what he is. And then Willow has this, like, still has this empathy for him, even though he's tried to kill her multiple times. And Xander just hates him.
Yep.
So there was this, like, interesting dynamic between the three of them. Yeah. So I just think it was great. Yeah, funny. There was, like, serious moments, like, with the Buffy Riley stuff. There was a lot of serious stuff. Yeah, a good apocalypse.
Okay. I gave it a 4.6. I thought it was pretty good overall. Like, I liked how they moved Buffy and Riley along. I was really waiting for that. I agree with you too, though, that it was like a lot. It was just like, okay, like, quit going back and forth so much. Like, just figure your shit out. It's fine, whatever. I thought that was mostly her though, not him. So I was kind of getting more annoyed at her than him. I also really liked the Xander, Spike, Willow dynamic. I thought that was really funny and cute. I was actually, I'll be honest with you, I was mildly annoyed that they did an apocalypse, because I'm like, okay, how many times are we gonna have like end of the world or apocalypse or whatever? Like, it's a lot.
Oh,
I feel like you could have it twice and that, like, once, honestly,
like twice,
fine.
Like in the whole show.
Yes.
Oh well, you're gonna.
I mean, apocalypse means end of the world.
Yeah, but everybody's always trying to do it. They just don't succeed.
Okay. Anyway. But yeah. So. And yeah, I thought that scene at the end was cute when Riley was kind of freaking out about people figuring out who he was. And he's like, it's the end of the world. And she's like, no, it's not. So I thought that was a really cute way to end it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they seem to be on a good track. Okay, so that was Doomed. I love that episode. I think it was a good because Hush is such a held on such a pedestal.
Very serious.
It's not like a letdown after Hush. I think it stands its own, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so your question for a new man is, who's Giles jealous of? Giles is jealous of someone. Who is it?
Someone regular, like a regular person,
What do you mean?
like people like Xander,
It's
Willow,
not I'll say it's not a
Spike,
new person.
Anya.
We know who they are. It's not like a new person. I'll say that.
Okay.
It's an established character.
Established character, regular established
And
character.
and don't forget also, it doesn't have to be necessarily just romantic. That's not the
Yeah.
only reason for
Well, I
jealousy.
mean, I wasn't going that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to think of like who it could be.
I will say it's not like Willow, Xander, Buffy, or Spike.
I was actually thinking Anya.
Okay.
I guess I'll say Anya because I can't think of anyone else.
Okay.
I guess maybe that psychology professor? That doesn't make sense. Let's just go with Anya. Okay.
Okay. Nyanka it is. So that wraps up season 4, episode 11, Doomed. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with season 4, episode 12, A New Man. See you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.